Hi, welcome to LBTV. Got Gary Ellerson here today. I wanted to ask you, have people ever confused you with Gary Ellis?
Yeah, there's Gary Ellis and myself, Gary Ellerson.
Right.
Gary Ellis went to University of Missouri. Gary Ellerson, you went to the University of Wisconsin-Madison, Badger. That's me. But we both played in Green Bay at the same time. Now, Gary played with the Los Angeles Rams. They were in Anaheim at that particular time first, and then came over to Green Bay.
Was Vince Ferragamo their quarterback?
When he was there, probably. But
he was in Green Bay, wasn't he?
Vince Ferragamo was my quarterback in Green Bay for about a couple, 2-3 games.
I don't know if people even know that.
Yeah. Vinny Ferragamo was the real deal.
He could throw it.
Yeah.
Speaking of spin it, let's get into it. You were up to the OTAs, mini camps, and all that kind of stuff. A lot of the Packer fans are going to see this. Obviously, they weren't there, so they're going to take some firsthand accounts from you. How does Aaron Rodgers look as far as not mechanics, but leadership? You know, Woodson is gone, Driver is gone. Do you see any noticeable leadership qualities in that, or was it passed to Matthews?
Well, I think it's going to be Matthews and Aaron Rodgers carrying the torch, so to speak. But you're going to have some other guys that's going to step up too. You know how it is when you go to your position meetings, because it's really weird right now, the dynamic. So Woodson's gone. So right now it appears that it's Tramon Williams is going to kind of take that leadership role. Morgan Burnett now will take on a bigger role now. When you look at the receivers, it's really now got to be about James Jones and Jordy Nelson. Those guys got to step up. But I think right now this team is built around, by contracts or by what the money says, that is built around Clay Matthews and Aaron Rodgers. I think they'll do a pretty good job at leading this team.
Oh, stay with Aaron Rodgers for a minute, because we're watching the finals with LeBron James. We saw, Game 3, he didn't shoot, wasn't very assertive, didn't attack very much, didn't shoot very much. They lost. Is it the same way with Aaron Rodgers? Ultimately, we want LeBron James to shoot.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you want Aaron Rodgers to throw the football. And I know McCarthy has said he wants to run the ball more. Did you see any changes in that, running more? Or?
Well, with the draft picks, Eddie Lacy and that Jonathan Franklin kid that they brought in from UCLA, I think they're going to try to run the football a little bit more. But you're right, we have the best player on the planet. Like LeBron's the best player on the planet for basketball. To me, Aaron Rodgers is the best player on the planet in the NFL.
Voted by his peers.
So I think when you see that, you got to know that it's on Aaron Rodgers to lead us to a championship to get it done. Now, there's going to be some pieces to help him get there, like, D. Wade. It's got to help LeBron James get there. Chris Bosh has got to help LeBron James get there. Running game has got to help Aaron Rodgers not throw the ball so much. Defense has to play better. They got to get off the field on third down to give us more opportunities to score. So I think it's got to be a team effort, but make no mistake about it, it's about number 12.
Yeah, before we get into the defense, the last thing about Aaron Rodgers, and I try to tell people this, when you audible as a quarterback, and sometimes the defense dictates to you, if it's a running play that came in, he can change that.
Right.
I mean, have they still continue to do that, or
that's
just
what
you run the play?
Right. That's what a lot of people don't understand, LeRoy.
But some coaches, you run what I tell you.
Well, you get to check with me. And 9 times out of 10.
Now explain check with me for the audience.
Well, plays come in, it's check with me. It's a run play or a pass play. You got an option to do it. And then off of that, you may have 4 or 5 other options off the check with me play. And so it can be confusing, but just because a run play comes in doesn't mean that you're going to run it. And when you have the check with me system, you may run one play, but then after you do the check with me, defense may go into another coverage.
Exactly.
And now that wipes out the check with me. Now you're on to something different.
While the clock is moving.
So you probably could go in the offense, and I've done this with Lynn Dickey before. We could, depending on what the defense is doing, we could go probably 4 plays within, 40 seconds, 45 seconds, whatever that clock is. We could go through 4 or 5 plays within that time. And then sometimes we just have a play that no matter what that defense is in, we know this play is going to work. So it can get us 3-4 yards. We know. We don't want to come away with any minus yards.
Yeah, and I think before we move to the defense again, one more small about backup quarterback. Because we're through with Aaron Rodgers. What about the backup quarterback situation? Graham Harrell, P.J. Coleman. Or would you like to see the Packers which they may not, go get a veteran to come in to compete with those guys for backup?
Well, I will tell you this. We're just up at OTAs a couple days ago.
Yeah.
B.J. Coleman looked pretty good, folks.
Yeah.
I mean.
Well, wait a minute now.
He does.
He's not going to.
I don't know what they're going to do.
Graham Harrell, is he?
I don't know what they're going to do, but B.J. Coleman looked pretty good. I mean,
I'm
not saying he's Aaron Rodgers, okay?
I know, but let's just deal with him and Graham Harrell.
He's a backup quarterback.
But Graham Harrell last year, we had this whole thing during preseason that he was the anointed one for backup.
Yeah.
Now you're telling me B.J. Coleman looks better than him?
Right now, yes.
Yeah, I know it's early.
I think from a physical standpoint, he does. His stature, the way he throws the ball, he's stronger.
He's a Brett Favre disciple, you know that.
Right, but maybe Harrell has more of the knowledge of the game than B.J. Coleman. But I think, as I was looking at it a couple of days ago, B.J. Coleman appears to be a little bit more talented on that side, where he has those physical abilities where he can throw the ball a little bit better than Harrell.
Okay, because we at one point that was a big deal. But forget about it. Let's get to the reason why I think one of the reasons why they'll win a Super Bowl, if they're even in the conversation. Defense, because you look at the last game, and we've talked about it before, against San Francisco, some opportunities that the defense didn't step up. Now, how does the defense right now looks? And I know it was pretty early because Sam Shields just kind of got there, you know, whatever. But the defense looks a little bit improved.
Work in progress, I think. I think they're trying a lot of new things. Okay. Mike Neal, they got him at outside linebacker.
Right. Now, is that a project or he's doing pretty good?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. I mean, he played a little bit last year, but now they really making an effort to have him at outside linebacker. Now, I was at practice, and a couple times they had him over the slot guy. A couple times he forgot, so you know they're still learning. I was hearing Turkovic yelling, over the top, get over the top of the receiver, get all the way out there, hit him, jam before he gets out. So they've got him playing in space.
But LeRoy, Gary, if he's going to play outside linebacker, wouldn't the outside linebacker coach him? Why would you let Turkovic still coach him? Because
he's flip-flopping in between depending on what the offense gives you.
It's kind of confusing because it seemed like to me, because I played both.
But Turkovic knows, in that defense, Turkovic knows everything. I mean, you know, that's capers, that's all that.
Okay.
So individual drills.
Yeah.
He's flip-flopping between D-line and offensive line. I mean, I'm sorry, D-line and outside linebacker.
Right.
He's doing both drills individually. So he's learning a lot on the go.
Because it seemed like to me that when they're doing the meetings, Turkovic, defensive line coach, is talking to all the linemen, a majority of the linemen. When they talk, they just say, hey, look, Neal, go to the room with the outside linebackers.
Right.
And he'd walk in their meeting while the meeting is in progress, and he'd go through it. That can hold a player back. Unless they only use him in pass rush situations, and at some point they say, listen, you're 100% outside linebacker, but we may need you at some point to be a rush down lineman.
I think it's an experiment right now.
And this is the time to do that.
And I think this is the time to do it. And they're trying to figure out, you know, where we can put him. I think all this, though, LeRoy, leads to really Johnny Jolly. Playing a little bit more on the defensive line, because if you move now Mike Neal outside linebacker, they make that makes some space for Johnny Jolly to play on the defensive line. I think that'll help him out a lot. And you talked about this defense last year. Now, news just came out about Desmond Bishop with what they're going to do with Desmond. Are they going to bring him back? Should he restructure his contract? Are they going to trade him? All that. To me, I think last year defensively, the Green Bay Packers missed a guy like Desmond Bishop in the middle. I think we start talking about mean, nasty, physical. I think that's what Desmond Bishop brings to this team.
With him and DJ Smith, who's in San Diego, and they really like him, by the way. It seemed like to me that Desmond Bishop was the best inside blitzing linebacker when they run that cross stunts and cross dogs, as they call it. I'm hoping they get that worked out, because we've talked about San Francisco defense being nasty. Seattle's defense being nasty. The Packers' defense, not so much. Without 55 in there, it seemed like you take a little bit away from that. But that's the business aspects of it.
Where it is.
They'll get that
and a lot of
worked out.
people, you know, us fans tend to forget. It is.
Yeah.
It is about business. It is about, you know, they've got a lot of guys they need to sign. I mean, Sam Shields is up for a new deal.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got, you know, B.J. Raji's up for a new deal. I mean, they got to try to figure out how to keep all these guys in house if they can.
Right.
And so I think that's what I mean. A.J. Hawk took a pay cut this year to come back.
Yeah.
So, Lord have mercy, LeRoy. How many pay cuts did you take when you played for the Green Bay Packers?
More than I wanted to.
Right. So, but it happens. It happens.
Yeah, it does. And I think for the most part, ultimately, restructuring your contract helps the team, but sometimes it's bad timing for a player that you feel like.
Well, it's never a good time to restructure deals.
Well, if you're later in your years and you feel like, I want to play longer, and see, restructuring is fine. A pay cut's different.
Okay.
When you restructure, they give you a bonus and they add a year. That's restructuring. Sort of like what Tom Brady did.
Right.
Now, when you take a pay cut,
right,
you basically going from
give them some money back,
$7 million to $1 million.
Right.
And a lot of Packer fans think you should take the $1 million to play with God's team, America's team. And I think only a player can really know his economics to do that. If another team is willing to pay you, Minnesota Vikings, is willing to pay you more, then you go there. But when you go there, you're going to be hated. Now,
are you saying Greg Jennings?
Oh, yeah, people hate it. Yeah, we hate anybody. I mean, I'll say it right here. Anytime anybody in that jersey, people are not going to like you.
Right.
And that's a good segue into Brett Favre. I know you heard reports about a week ago, he playing golf with Jim Kelly. He has not come to did any media here in Wisconsin. But he said some things he was maybe wrong. He was wrong about a few things, And then Aaron had touched on it earlier. It's time for Brett to come back. What do you think about it?
Well, it is.
Yeah. We said that last year and the year before.
I think from a player standpoint, we need him back in the fold. I mean, he needs to.
Why do you need him?
Well, because we need everybody. I mean, he's not the only guy. I mean, we need everybody. I mean, we need just like we have Jerry Kramer, Bart Starr, 60s guys. Just like we have Willie Buchanan, all those guys. We need everybody that played. Gilbert Brown, not going to your era. Gilbert Brown, William Henderson, Dorsey Levens. We need all those guys.
But those guys wanted to be.
Yeah, but LeRoy, it doesn't always work out, the way you want to. I mean, Vince Lombardi, greatest coach in history, didn't. He left Green Bay, went to the Washington Redskins, coached there, right? So we've had players in the history of the Green Bay Packers go and play somewhere else, but ultimately they are a Green Bay Packer and they come back. It's just, I think the Packers are a special organization. And to have a guy like Brett Favre, he just needs to come back home.
And see, here's the thing that gets kind of a little off-putting is when somebody, I like the way Ted is doing it. Ted doesn't even address it. I got to concentrate on my team.
Right.
So y'all want to deal with that, whatever. And I would almost guarantee that if they, for some reason, retire Brett's jersey, Ted will be right there clapping.
Oh, sure.
He's.
But that's not his thing, though, LeRoy.
I know, but he's got other stuff to worry about. He's at some small college in Georgia. We joked about it. Watching Southwest Georgia State, Tennessee, West.
That's him.
He's worried about the team. He can't worry about a guy that.
Well, he leaves it up to Murphy. Right. Mark Murphy. He let Mark Murphy. You go handle that.
Yeah.
Your job is to get Brett Favre back in the fold. You make that happen, and when you make it happen, I'm going to be there. Right. I mean, Donald Driver's retirement, we saw Ted Thompson there. And you know that Ted would have rather been at Southwest Missouri State, right, Northern Iowa, looking at some players that nobody else even know about. Ted knows about this guy. Nobody knows about him.
Charles Johnson, Grand Valley State.
Boom.
I mean, how do you find these guys?
Right, and that's what he'd rather be doing, which is fine because I think Ted is probably one of the best guys in the NFL that can do the job that he's doing right now. He's unbelievable. I think that,
although I like the way Ted is handling it, I think if he would just say, it's not about me, it's not about Brett Favre, it's about the G. If Brett Favre wants to come back, come on back.
Right.
But in the meantime, I got to win a Super Bowl. People would just drop it. And when Brett is ready, you call Murphy up, I'm ready. And I said, otherwise, I don't want to keep hearing about it over and over and over again.
Well, you're going to hear about it over and over again.
And it's just starting to be like you're begging a player to come back that doesn't want to be back, but you got other players who would love to be a janitor up in that organization. So I just think at one point, you know, Brett has to understand that, you know, that's over with. Come back and get the jersey retired or whatever. So, Gary, you can see you not see you, but they can hear you every day, 12:50 a.m., sportsradio1250.com, The Big Show.
Right.
Sparky, Rami, do you want to know?
Sparky, Rami, Ted Davis, Sports Radio 1250.
Mike Clemens is on there.
Mike Clemens.
Producing.
Yeah.
Tom Parker is a good boss of yours.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming, and we hope you come back again.
All right, Bob.
All right.